Hey, good morning everybody. This is day 2 of my new fog light upgrade. The whole reason I started this was because last week I was washing my vehicle and I come to find a rock had hit it and shattered the glass lens. So, I'd fail state inspection if I leave it, believe it or not. So, plus having a hole in the lens is going to let water in and cause all sorts of problems. So one of the guys on the site, I think it was Kyle Williams from Canada, recommended upgrading to a polycarbonate lens, which is a lot stronger. It's an LED upgrade. It came from Diode Dynamics. It's a little pricey. It's $160 plus shipping. I had it within 3 days after I ordered it. The website will not show a 2017 Ridgeline. Even they'll say, well, we haven't confirmed it yet, but working with Kyle and I double verified some of the part numbers and stuff through Majestic Honda in New Jersey. It does fit. It's a good fit. There are some subtle differences I'll show you as we go. Good stuff. I spent a couple hours yesterday doing this one. I'm very pleased with it so far. I posted a picture. Shows the difference between the yellow hue and the like a cool white, which matches the headlights, and I'm thrilled about that. I'll do a pattern scan later to see if there was any real significant difference, and we'll get back to that. So today I'm going to do the right side, but before I do that, let me explain where I am and how I got here. First thing foremost, I did it yesterday without the vehicle on ramps, and I'll tell you, it can be done, but it's painful, especially if you've got long arms. You're going to lose your mind. Was get under the vehicle first and foremost and drop out this panel. Pretty easy to do. It just sits in the middle, and you just follow the bolts along, and they come right out. Half of them are what I call pop rivets. So these pop rivets are pretty straightforward. They sit flush inside the cowling like that. All you have to do is take a little screwdriver, like a straight slot, just gently pry in there, wiggle it back and forth until they pop out like this. Once they do, the whole assembly drops right out, and you just remove those. Just be as gentle as possible. Don't beat on them too bad, because if they've got dirt and grime on them, it's going to cause tear them up. You also have a couple 10mm bolts. You have 6 total, 2 silver and 4 black. You have 2 longer bolts, all 10mm. They're key locations. I think they're towards the back of the shroud. And you have this one screw. You actually have 2. The other one's holding up my panel. It would not come out no matter how much lubricant I put on it. So I just said, you know what, I pushed it back and no big deal. So, and that's pretty much it. Tools you're going to need, obviously I talked about earlier, the screwdriver for the pop rivets, a 10mm ratchet, that works to take out the bolts, and of course, if you have a stubby Phillips head screwdriver, that's great. That probably will work for you, but I don't, for whatever reason. So I have a ratchet. I made this out of my own little doing. Took a ratchet with a 1/4-inch socket, and I put on one of those Phillips head adapters from one of my screwdriver kits. It kept falling out initially, and it was very frustrating. So what I did was I wrapped it in some tape, and I stuffed the hell out of it, and I put it in that socket. Now it won't fall out on you when you're in the middle of backing out a screw. So that's pretty much all you need for tool-wise. Let me move on to talking about the differences in the light. Okay, looking at the OEM light. This is from the passenger side. Came out pretty straightforward. I thought, wow, comparing it to the new LED upgrade, it's pretty dang similar. Now, obviously, they built this for several applications, several different vehicles, so it's not going to be exact. The thing that concerned me was that the holes lined up and it sat snug inside the holder assembly on the vehicle. The thing I discovered after a few attempts trying to put this in was, notice the bottom left there. There's a keyhole. On the new one, there isn't. And you go, what the? Okay, so Honda has a little fancy post that looks just like that. There's no screw assembly required for that side, which is nice because you only have 3 screws to put in. You got the 1, 2, and 3, okay? That side is going to be a little black post that sits through, and it's going to be just the exact same shape. So it saves you a little bit of time there. So what do you do when you go to put this one in? The other thing I noticed with the OEM is they have Honda has a left and right side. And it's marked on each one. Notice where the adjustment screw is for tilting the lights. On the new one, same thing, adjustment screw, but they're both identical. So there is no left and right. They're both universal. In the holder assembly on left and right sides of the car, it looks like it's not going to be an issue because this is just generic and sits right in there. The thing I do notice is on the bottom of the bumper, there's a hole right here. And everybody, you know, I didn't know what it was till I looked, and it's in perfect alignment with the screw adjustment. So I thought, wow, that's how they adjust the light. Okay, they stick a long Phillips head screwdriver in there and they tilt the lights up and down. Same thing applies here, except it lines up perfectly on the passenger side, but since it's a universal light, it won't line up perfectly with the hole on the driver's side. So you may want to, and I'm not going to, drill a hole in close proximity of where the new alignment is, because it should be over here. According to Honda, they've got the hole lined up with this one. So since it's on this side, you may have to measure over X amount of inches and drill a hole in your bumper. I don't use the tilt function. I probably won't. So I'm not going to worry about it. Just let you know that's what you can do if you don't like the angle of your lights. They all come standard, marked probably around the same as the factory. It's all the way sits flush, so that tells me it's probably perfectly centered. All right, so big difference is the keyhole. No keyhole. You got to make one with a Dremel, and that's what I did yesterday. I took my Dremel and I just marked it, and I just kind of etched out a keyhole. It slid right on just perfect, no issues. The thing I did notice about the leads, I'll get into this in a little bit. I didn't think it mattered which one went inside this boot assembly, okay? So on the vehicle, you have what I call a cannon plug. It's a gray connector. It goes in, sits in there, and it locks into this clip assembly right here. So it snaps in and it's done. They don't have that on the Diode Dynamics light. They have 2 leads, and they have a boot that has, notice, it's got the little locking clip up there. So to me, it's keyed that way for a reason, and you got to make sure these connectors are in the right socket. So if you don't, I made the mistake yesterday. I put it all together and I didn't worry about it. And then when I hooked it up, the light did not work for some reason. I'm not an electrician, but so I had to back it out, and that was a little tricky with those little locking tabs in there. And push the pins back out, reverse them, and then the light worked. So just be leery of that. I'll show you as I install how I test it before I lock the boot on, because it's kind of a pain in the ass getting it done up when it's done. So there you go. All right. Okay, guys, here I am under the vehicle. I'm looking at the driver's side fog lamp. One thing I forgot to mention was you need a skinny light bar to make your life easy. You may, whatever you got, but otherwise it's going to be very hard to see. Quick note, I'm sorry, I got to do this one-handed, and I'm trying not to hit the button and turn off the video and everything else, so be patient with me. Here's the harness assembly. It has a connector. I call it a cannon plug because I'm an aviation guy. That's pretty straightforward. It clips right to the light, sits right on there, and there's a clip right on the front side. You just push down on a clip, it pops right off. So I'm just going to push that out of the way. Let's talk about the light a little bit, if I don't turn off this stupid video again. Okay, so there's the light assembly. Notice it can be a little deceiving. It looks like 4 screws on the assembly itself. There's one, right? And there's one above it. There's one on the left here, and then there's one above that. The one in the way top on the left is going to be the pain in the butt one. I can't get a good shot of it, I'm sorry. Let's see, get my hand out of the way, maybe that'll help. But it's up there. You got to kind of do that a little blind. Use your left, right hand, whatever you're more comfortable with. I scooted my body out in front of the vehicle and reached in backwards to make it work. Whatever works for you. This screw, I did it yesterday on the other side, and that screw does nothing. Don't touch it. Save yourself a lot of aggravation, a lot of time. Just leave that one alone, because on above that screw, and I can't get a good shot of it, and I'm sorry, there's that keyhole post. It's just a plastic tab that's shaped like that keyhole, and it sits in there, and there is no screw. So you only have to remove 3 screws, which is nice. I'm going to start that process, and I'm going to save you watching myself curse and everything else. Okay, guys, I'm back. Guess what? Got all 3 screws out, not 4. Notice the 4th one is still in there on the far left, bottom left. So, watch this. Ready? There she goes. All right. Let's see if I can get this out. There we go. All right. So, there she is. Yay. Okay, so again, before I can install, I got to do that keyhole. Just since it's opposites from the left and right on the OEM, just make sure 2 things. You make sure you got the screw face orientated towards the bottom when you install it. So just like the OEM light. So the keyhole in this one's going to be on the right versus the left. So I'm going to make a keyhole right there. Okay, and get to that next.